over the years, I've met and talked to thousands upon thousands of entrepreneurs, worked for thousands of clients, and oftentimes they'll ask me, what's the most important marketing strategy? If you could only choose one, what would it be? On today's show, I'm going to tell you, if I only had to choose one, which is not always my preference, I'm going to tell you exactly what I would choose. So stay tuned and we'll dive into that. If we wind back a few years, quite a few years now, to the 90s, in the early 90s, that's when I first started kind of stretching my entrepreneurial muscle. And I started doing construction projects, remodeling, things around people's homes and things like that. And I remember asking myself, okay, how am I going to get more business? And back then we didn't have the sophisticated tracking that we do now. We didn't really have, I forget when it started. I don't even think it was in the 90s. We didn't have Google ads the way they are today. We didn't have Facebook ads. We didn't have email marketing was there, but not the way it is now. We just didn't have the technology and the tools we have. And yet billion-dollar businesses were still, birthed, and businesses grew aggressively. And my first business, although I had so much to learn and made so many mistakes, we did millions of dollars in revenue. And one of the primary drivers for businesses up until the age of digital media and digital marketing was branding. And so being in the phone book when somebody wanted to look you up, having your trucks wrapped if you were a service company, having billboards, doing radio, doing direct mail, that was the path. I remember sitting down with one of the lead direct mail marketers for Progressive Insurance, and he explained to me the entire sequence of mail they sent, which started with branding and then moved to direct calls to action. And as we think about the age we live in today, digital marketing, Facebook ads, Google ads, everything digital, there's a lot there now in search engine optimization. It feels super accessible, and it is, but it's less successful when we don't have an established brand. And so if you're starting out, or even if you feel like you've reached a plateau in your business, I would encourage you to ask yourself, how big is our brand? Being everywhere in front of people helps them see more repetitions of you, learn more about you, watch your video, read your content. And the more consistent you are in branding, when the need arises, and even if you make a small, simple offer in your branding, you can do that, of course, and definitely recommend that. But when the need arises, you'll have people in your audience who have been watching you, following, seeing your brand, getting to know you, trusting you, saying, hey, I know who to work with. I want to work with you. Or they hear their friend talking about a problem they have and they say, oh, I know somebody that can do that. I see them all the time. And I experienced this on the consumer side recently when I was looking for some new, we're in the process of growing and scaling, and we're looking at new opportunities of things to invest in and acquire. And a friend of mine who consistently posts about what he's up to, the things he invests in, his entrepreneurial mindset, the lessons he's learned, what he believes in, his family life. He's really consistent about posting. He posted and said, hey, I've got this opportunity, of a great way to invest and acquire some new customers in business. I immediately messaged him, said, hey, I want to learn more about this. And we jumped on a call, and it's going to be somewhere to, a $25,000 to $30,000 investment. And he didn't run a single ad for it. And it's something that we're seriously considering, going to take through our vendor process, like we talked about earlier this week, because it's kind of half vendor relationship, half kind of acquisition of new customers. But we're going to go through a really thorough process. But he didn't have to run targeted ads. He didn't have to, send out the big blast. He didn't have to do all those other things because he chose one of the key foundational things that we all need to be paying attention to early on to just continue to show up and continue to brand himself in front of his audience. And when we look at that approach of branding, it's difficult in today's world to initially, especially if you're new in the marketing space, to associate value with brand, because everyone wants to see a click, an opt-in, and a sale, which I'm 100% for. We do a lot of that for our clients, and it's definitely something you should do. But you end up paying more per sale per lead when you don't have a big brand because nobody knows you. And so there's low trust. Whereas if you set aside the mindset of like, I want to put $1 in and get $1 out tomorrow, and you start to play the long game and say, how can I keep showing up consistently in front of my audience so that when they're ready, they buy from me? That creates such a super strong foundation of who you are, what you offer, what your services are, that you're consistent, that you're going to be here this year, in 6 months, next year, in a few years. And when you play the long game, it brings in big opportunities. It brings in high quality prospects who become clients who know all about you, what you believe, what your guiding principles are, what you're all about. And it makes the sales conversation so much easier. And then when you run direct response advertising, you get much better results because people know who you are. Another great example of this is my friend Ray Higdon. He's in the network marketing space and is just somebody of the highest integrity. I've known him for years. I've followed his content. I've talked to people that are in his programs. He was actually a client of mine years ago, and he chose to create daily video every day. And he's been doing that for over a decade. And he posts consistently every day. I have never gone a day without seeing awesome, inspiring, amazing content from Ray Higdon. And he is the only person that I refer people to when they're in the networking marketing space because he is so consistent. And when he runs his targeted, lead generation campaigns, of course I see those because I've seen all his other content. And so he's pixeled me and tracked me, which is part of it. But also when that stuff pops up, because I'm interested in a lot of different things in my feed, I'm like, oh yeah, I know him. I trust him. And so I've even checked out his programs, even though I'm not, full-time in that space by any means. I play a little bit in the network marketing space. It's a business model I really love. And there's some great companies there. And of course there's in any industry, things to watch out for in network marketing, but it's a really great positive space. And his example of just consistent branding has built this massive trust. He has a huge audience. His business is growing and scaling because he chose to show up every day, which is branding, which is providing great content, which is showing, hey, we're still here. We still want to serve you and we still want to help you. So even though it's a really hard question to, ask a marketing geek like me that loves just junking out on learning new marketing, practicing things and implementing things for ourselves and our clients, if I had to choose one thing and you only got to choose one marketing channel to do or one marketing strategy, to be clear, I would choose branding. So how are you going to show up more for your clients? How are they going to say, I see you everywhere? That's what people say to me because we're consistent in how we brand and show up at the show. We also continue to look at how can we grow our brand and keep expanding our brand, because when you can be everywhere in front of your audience, you become the obvious and often the only choice that there's in their mind when they have a problem to solve or when they have pain that they need relieved in a way that you can help them. So I'd encourage you to think about, how can I be more consistent in my branding? If it's emailing every day, if it's posting every day, find the channels that you can be consistent in and start there and stack on there, and then add on new channels. Don't play in every new social network. Don't buy every new software tool. Don't get distracted. Find the places that you're already consistent and comfortable at some level and make those the bedrock and the foundation of your brand, and your business will grow from there. If you need help with branding, marketing, lead generation, website development, any of the things that our awesome team does here, we're a full service marketing firm. We'd love to help you. You can reach out at businessmarketingengine.com, and I will see you on tomorrow's show.